Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwahn and welcome to episode number 42 of an ongoing series, First Impression. Today we are going to see what impression the beginning of the survival exploration video game No Man's Sky leaves on us. No Man's Sky was developed and published by Hello Games and was released on PC and PlayStation 4 in 2016 and made its way to Xbox in 2018. Now No Man's Sky has been a talk of the town for video games for the last 5 years, because when it was initially announced, the game looked to be a gem, a diamond, a unique experience that was unlike something that had been delivered before. You could go and explore 18 quintillion planets and do all these fantastical things, and there's all this exploration, and there's all these interesting creatures that are generated by the game, and there was hype for this game, and it delivered none of it at all. Game looked like crap. The game apparently played like crap. There was no multiplayer. There was no running into other players. Everything that they had hyped up about the game, beyond that there was a bunch of possibilities, was not there. There was no base building. There was almost nothing. It was this sad shell of a game that then proceeded to have even larger controversy piled on top of it because the lead developer had promised, and overhyped, overpromised, and underdelivered the entire experience. And it's kind of just set this precedence that for some reason that's okay in video games, that you can just hype everything up and say that the game's going to be a million things, and then when you get the game actually out onto shelves, the game just kind of sucks. Which is unfortunate, but I mean, it must still result in sales, otherwise they wouldn't do it, but that doesn't make it suck for us any less. And No Man's Sky, though, in the time since then, they've still worked on the game. They didn't just release a pile of garbage and then moved on to the next pile of garbage. They've kept working on it. In the 4 years since its release, it's had major content update after major content update, major improvements, fixing this, going back over this, and the general buzz on the internet now is that the game is in the state that it should have been at launch. It is in the state that they promised when they were announcing and hyping up the game, that the things that they talked about originally that were always absent are in the game now. It took an extra 4 years and like 2.5 extra versions of the game, but they got there. Which makes me very interested to see if this game has a good first impression, because I was very interested in the game when it was initially announced. But it was from a company that I didn't know very well and had a lot of things to live up to. And I was like, I'll just wait. $60, that's a lot. I'll just wait. And I'm glad I did, because apparently the game was awful. Trash, garbage. And I'm being told that it is not the same now. Also, the game's on Xbox GamePass, both on console and PC, so if you have a subscription to that for a whopping $5 or $10 a month, you can play the game without having to pay $60 for it, or $30 if it's on sale, which makes this a very easy to commit to first impression, because it didn't require a large expense out of pocket for a channel that doesn't make money. So that made it all the more easy, because it is available on Game Pass and is a good opportunity to try it, especially when the game still has this massive cloud of controversy on it, from everything of its announcements up to its launch to the years since then, to the weird way that the company was approaching things. But that also means that if you are saying today that the game is in this incredible state, that it has all the higher expectations when I go into it for first impression. Will this game be a good experience, and will it be a good experience from the beginning? I do enjoy these survival exploration experiences. Everything from Terraria and Starbound and Minecraft and 7 Days to Die and Grounded and that entire genre of games is something that I enjoy a lot, because they're such a relaxing experience. I mean, they can have some intense moments, but if you compare it to most multiplayer games, whether it's like Dead by Daylight or Call of Duty or League of Legends or Hunt Showdown or whatever, these games are focused on you wanting to be aware and engaged and go, where a lot of these survival games, you can sit back and relax and maybe have to sit up to like, oh man, I'm getting attacked or something like that, but otherwise I'm gonna mine some rocks, I'm gonna build a base, I'm gonna go see what's on that rock over there, and I'm just going to allow myself to kind of dissolve into this other world, which is some of the greatest appeals of these games, when you just want to enjoy a video game, enjoy accomplishing something while being able to relax and wind down from a day. And that's one of the powers of these games, and we'll see if No Man's Sky in its current rendition today is able to deliver that. Very intrigued to find out. But before we begin, I want to quickly invite you to two different things. One, the Discord. If you want to hang out and chat with me, there's a link to the Discord in the description down below. And also, we do Twitch live streams. Consistently every week, we stream live on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So if you want to come hang out with us in the live stream chat, go check that out. Link down in the description as well below. Words, English, hard, whatever. Without further ado, let's begin.
Hey everyone, so there's a reason you're hearing this post-recording message, and that is that this video has been kind of cursed. I had so many problems with everything going into this. I had problems getting the game to run. I had problems getting the game to record. I had problems during the actual recording itself. We had problems where the gameplay didn't want to record properly, and I didn't notice immediately because it happened halfway through recording the gameplay. I had problems with almost losing the gameplay footage. In fact, one copy of the gameplay footage did end up getting corrupted, and then after all of that is said and done, I am now here trying to edit it, and all of the audio for the gameplay portion of the video is completely lost. So we're going to make this video nice and short, and we're going to cut out a ton of the entire gameplay portion because there's not really anything to really watch, because half of it is a menu screen and the other half of it doesn't have audio. So with all that said, I'm sorry that I won't be able to show you the gameplay portion of this video, but my thoughts are still the same on it afterwards. And I will do my very best to be better moving forward about trying to circumvent these issues. It's a very large problem with this series because if anything does go wrong, I can't exactly just re-record it because it's no longer my initial impression. It's not me playing through the game for the first time, and my thoughts and everything will be different if I play through it a second time. Thanks for understanding. Here's the outro.
Okay, look, when it comes to No Man's Sky, the first impression wasn't actually that bad. When I look at certain parts of it, there's some parts that are rough. And really, it just needs like a little bit of help, which I'm sad to say 4 years later when people are saying the game is great or is good, and I see where the good game here is. There's a lot of things in this genre that this game is doing very well. And there's some things in the video game genre as a whole that this game is not. And most of it has to do with understanding and accessibility, because there's so many things that I don't feel like the game is telling you in time or telling you when it should. And that's really where it's hurting the user experience, even as an experienced gamer in this genre. I was feeling very disjointed a large amount of the time, and that's a problem. That shouldn't happen because these games normally aren't super complicated. There's some that can kind of get complicated, like Scrap Mechanic, because of the way the system is built and the amount of customization that exists within that game system. This game is actually, at least from what I'm seeing so far, is actually not super complicated, which is good because it means that the hurdle to understanding and doing what you want and how you want to do it is not very hard to get over. But the simple systems are delivered in a very awkward way. Like, there's menus and other menus and other menus inside of other menus. And that's not necessarily bad because none of the menus are very long or very deep, but it doesn't guide you to those menus very well or explain what those menus are very well, and that's problematic. The gameplay itself is fine, although I'm still confused and I haven't looked it up at the time of recording this. Like, it spawns you in third person, but I know I've seen people play in first person, but that doesn't mean that at some point along the way they didn't take it out because there's been a lot of updates, but it doesn't explain that I didn't see the options for it anywhere in the menus. The general idea of the game, I think I will enjoy once I understand what I'm doing. Like, I don't literally mean the actual physical act of doing it. Like, the general entire big picture, because it drops you in very abruptly, which is not bad. That actually normally makes for a good first impression because it doesn't have a slow buildup. You immediately get to start experiencing things, which is normally good for first impression, which it isn't bad here, except it has everything happening right from the very beginning, which is a bit problematic because it doesn't give you time to absorb anything, because like everything just felt so thrown at you, and even for an experienced person, it was very like, what's happening right now? And if there was a less experienced person, I imagine this would just be a completely overwhelming experience that would be very detrimental to making you want to play more. I enjoy the survival aspects of it, and it's very simplistic of like, you have the severe weather protection and you need to make sure you keep enough of something on your person to be able to restore that. Same with like your oxygen tank, and that's kind of like a food and water meter. Like if we treat your oxygen as the food meter and the harsh weather environment as the water meter, boom, done, you're gone. And it's also really quick and simple to just be like, oh, I mine this thing, I throw it in my machine, boom, good to go. And that's one of the things that this game does really well. Harvesting is quick, it's not very painful, it's not like super awkward or boring. Like a lot of it you can do while moving. You're able to run around, pick up items while holding E the whole time to pick up multiple of them. Looting's pretty quick in terms of the things that I found to loot. Crafting is quick. You don't have to wait for something to be made. You just click, craft, done. So you just get to do what you want. You don't have to wait for some awkward timer or anything. The only timer I saw was in the refiner, and I refined this massive stack. Well, it seemed massive. I refined this massive stack of materials in like 6 seconds. So even that, which asked me to wait, it didn't ask me to wait very long, which means that I'm not waiting to play the game. I just get to play the game. If I want to make some nanotubes so that I can build the thing to put on my armor or whatever, I can. There's nothing that is keeping me from playing, which is great, because a lot of these games ask you to wait for something, whether it's to wait for it to craft, or wait for it to be broken apart, or wait for it to loot, or wait for it to refine, or have a long extra animations when you're eating something or something like that. It asks you to waste a lot of your time just so that you can play the game. And this game doesn't do that. Very, very strong testament to it. And so far, that's kind of the only one. Like the terrain generator, terrain manipulator seemed really cool. I know that there's a base building or a building mechanic, like actual buildings later on, and I don't know how far that is. And if that is intuitively done, that could be really cool. There's just so many things that it's like, okay, I see where this game is going. I see the power, the strength that this game has, and there's this shit all over it that just makes it hard to want to look at it, which is unfortunate because there's a game in here that I want to like, and I bet there's a game in here that I would absolutely love if I could get to it. And I played an hour. And hopefully I cut down that gameplay portion enough that it wasn't that long, because there is a lot of just running to the next checkpoint, which isn't necessarily bad. You do that a lot in exploration games, especially in survival games where you need to get to the next thing to get the next resource to do the next thing. It's not a bad thing. It's part of what allows these games to be relaxing. But there's just these issues that exist beyond the general navigation and the general control and the general approach of how the game provides you information, especially in the beginning, that set it back so many steps that I feel like with just a little bit of work, which they've been doing work for like 8 years, wouldn't be a problem. But I get the idea that they've been working on the end user experience when you're established, when you're going through the final loop and not that initial hurdle that sends you onto the course. And unfortunately, that initial hurdle is kind of covered in spiky rocks that are poisonous, and it doesn't tell you that there's an antidote available literally in your pocket. Not quite a direct metaphor, but it's pretty damn close. And that makes this game something that's difficult to recommend. It doesn't have the best first impression, but I do believe that there's a good game waiting for you beyond this broken down, crashing roller coaster of an explosion that is the beginning of the game. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is. If you felt something different with what you saw or what you personally have experienced, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I would love to hear what everyone else thinks about this game, whether you played it originally or if you've been playing it recently after its many updates. I'd love to hear it. Next week, we are going to be doing Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. This is a game that's received massive critical acclaim because it is the spiritual successor to Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and in fact, some of the people that worked on those old Castlevania games made this one. Now, the reason that I'm interested in this game is because I don't normally like Metroidvania games. There's one major reason that I dislike Metroidvania games is that they waste my time. And they waste my time by asking me to backtrack a lot. I did not like Ori and the Blind Forest as the one that I can think of most recently. I've been playing through Hollow Knight on Thursdays live streams for Two Dead Dudes. We just finished it last week. I did enjoy Hollow Knight a lot, but my biggest complaint with it was that it asks you to backtrack a shitload and go through the same areas a shitload without giving you purpose to doing so beyond that you need to get through that area to go do something else that's relevant. I've heard that I've heard that Bloodstained Ritual of the Night isn't that bad in that aspect. It's a really good, well-designed game that's really fun, doesn't ask you to backtrack that much, and is an overall incredible experience that has earned the studio that did it a ton of applause, appraise, words. They did a good job. I'm interested to see if it has a good opening experience, good enough to ask me to play through it, and if it does, if I'll play through it and hate it or not by the end of it. Because depending on how much of my time it wastes, I may very much dislike it. But we will wait and we will see, and we'll at least do the first impression on the next episode. If there's something that you want to see us do on first impression, please leave a comment down below of what you'd like us to see, or hit us up on social media. There's links to all of our social media, including our Discord, in the links in the description below. Would love to hear what else you'd like to see on this channel. Now, that's basically everything. I did mention the live streams a couple of times, but again, we do go live Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. We also have a Patreon. If you'd like to support us financially, we would greatly appreciate it so that we can continue to get more games that we don't have, even though the library is already backlogged beyond all get out. But you know, it is what it is. We're consumers. We buy more games and we enjoy the ones that we can when we have the time to do so. It also allows us to buy more equipment and continue growing, increasing the production quality of this channel when the software doesn't break. You know, all that kind of stuff. But all of that said, if you do go and check out another one of the YouTube videos, or if I see you in the live stream, thank you and enjoy.